Hey, absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate you for having me on. Taking over, this is my first year as a head coach. And so really, honestly, I've had the pleasure of, or the ability to be around some really, really sharp coaches in my career. And so when I took over as the head coach, the practice structure and the practice organization has been a tremendous thing for me. It's kind of become my baby. So it's just something that I've spent a lot of time diving into. And where I'm at right now, we have limited player numbers, 25. We'll move up this year and have some more, but still trying to structure those things, but stay organized. But I'm going to jump into it and knock this out. So this is our program philosophy. I can't not get on here without saying this. I actually took this from a coaching mentor of mine. But our philosophy is people, process, and product. And so what we say is, the first thing I do in hiring coaches is I just want to make sure they're good people. We can take care of the X's and O's stuff. We can do that. Now, if they're also a good coach, that's even better. But I want good people around my program. We have to have a structured, organized process, which I'm going to kind of dive into that today. And then we say the product, what we put on the field, is what'll take care of itself. That'll take care of itself. So that's our overall arching program philosophy. Now, then we get into kind of we have a yearly philosophy. Let me see if I go back. We have a yearly philosophy, and our yearly philosophy this year is 168. And what that means is there's 168 hours in a 7-day week. So we ask our kids, we say, hey, what are you doing with your 168? So that's our, last year was our new era coming in, trying to create a program, build a program. And then this year's going to be 168. So we've got that in place, and just, how are you utilizing your 168? And what are you doing with that? So just to kind of go through kind of our structure and organization and how we do things from a practice standpoint. So we have a 5th, 6th grade team, 7th, 8th grade team, and then a high school team, probably very similar to a lot of other people. But with us having low numbers, so last year we had 25 kids at the upper school. We had around the same in our 7th, 8th grade and 5th and 6th grade team. So that was kind of the, across the board, the numbers we had. We have a 100-yard turf field. We've got great facilities here, which is a huge plus in creating and structuring a program. But we treat our 7th, 8th grade team basically like you would your JV team. So at a big school where you've got, everything you need there, we have our high school kids, and then we've got our 7th, 8th grade kids. So we treat them really like our JV team. And then our 5th and 6th grade team, we call them the Junior Eagles. We treat them as our true middle school team. And what I mean by that is, and I'll show you in a second, but our 7th and 8th grade and upper school, we practice a ton together. We do our pre-practice stuff together. We do a lot of our indie stuff together. We do 7-on-7, half line, all of those type of things we utilize and we do together. We rarely, again, we have a 60-yard grass field. We rarely use that. The way I've got it diagrammed on here, we spend a ton of time doing that as far as our practice. We all kind of practice on the turf field. And that way I feel like I can bump down to the 5th and 6th grade practice, watch what they're doing, watch what spend a ton of time with the 7th, 8th grade group. And then they're also getting coached by our upper school coaches. So it's a common voice. They're hearing, the same thing. And so it really has helped us to kind of, unite, be one, and kind of build that community type where everybody's, they're getting to know us, we're getting to know them. And I think that's going to build retention in the long run for what we're trying to do in building a program. One thing we do, and this is something I implemented this year, and again, I know Coach earlier was talking about stealing stuff. I mean, everything I think we do is stolen from somebody one way or the other. But I met with Coach Kenny Dallas in the offseason, and he kind of pushed. He was like, Coach, this is something you need to do. And I kind of tweaked it a little bit to fit, what fits for us. But we do something called the 557 Club, which I'm sure a lot of people do this. One thing I've done to tweak it is this is a circuit style workout. We invite everyone in the entire school, boys, girls, elementary school kids. I invite moms, I invite dads, grandma, grandpa. And since it's a circuit style workout, we tailor it to anybody that would be interested in coming. So it's, you can up it as much as you want, or you can, work at your pace to do whatever, best fits you. Again, the idea behind that is trying to build community. I want to get people involved in our football program, whether they have kids in it or not. And I want to, again, grow our community. So we typically do this. We started it this year. It was 8 weeks before spring practice. We're fixing to wrap up with it next week. Again, circuit style workout. Everybody's invited for what we're trying to do. We're trying to build community. That's the biggest thing. We go from 5:57 a.m. And again, Coach Dallas was like, I said, why 5:57? He said, because you want to do something hard before 6 o'clock. He said, it's a mental thing. And it just rang true to me. And I loved it. And we do it one time a week. So it's like, hey, do something hard one time a week that's going to put you out of your comfort zone. We go from 5:57 to 7 a.m. And then each week we have a family who will sponsor a breakfast, and we'll kind of sit down together and do that breakfast and just spend time with each other before school. It's been great, again, for building a community and building what we're trying to, build here at Mount Bethel. So just kind of diving into our practice, and I've got a thing I'll pull up in just a second, but we don't have the luxury, we're a very high academic school. A lot of kids are in AP classes and all of these different things. So we don't have a ton of kids who are in weight training during school. So that is something that we have to do, right after school. So we get out at 3:15. They're in the weight room by 3:30. We're on the field with a pre-practice by 4:10. So it's just kind of, it's something we just have to do. We've got to get in and something there for that. Now, in season, we have focus particular things. And I'm talking, again, it goes back to our philosophy, hiring good people. What's your process? Okay. So our process for in season is we have a focus. Each day of the week has a focus period. It has its own focus. We start our week on Sundays. I know, like a lot of other people do, we bring the kids in after church. So the first portion of that is our faith. We say, guys, we want you in church. You need to be in church. We're a Christian school. That's something we promote, and we want you in church. So we'll typically start our day, after church around 2. We'll go from 2 to 4, 4:30, depending on how much stuff we need to get in that day. But that's our faith day. But we bring the kids in on Sunday. We do an active recovery period, which is yoga. We'll do a recovery lift, and then we'll kind of break down things from that last game, film, all of those type things. We'll dive into that with the kids, and then get them out, on that Sunday. Monday's our fix day. We spend Monday really focusing on things that we needed to fix from the last game. So it's a focus on us. We always tend to focus on us, anyways. But we've got to fix any issues. If it was, we were making wrong steps, we weren't blocking, this person, we wrong reads, different things like that. We spend Mondays fixing any of those issues that we have. So we completely focus on us. Tuesdays, we call it a fight day. I think probably like a lot of people, we're going to have our live scrimmages. We're going to have all of those type things set up and structured. From that, Wednesday, I tell our coaches, look, we don't put in a lot of new stuff. So throughout the season, what we do is what we do. Again, we focus on us, but if there are small wrinkles that we put in throughout the season, those need to be in by Wednesday, because that's our fast day. If it doesn't look good, we're throwing it out. Okay, we're not doing it. It's not going into the game. We're not putting that product on the field if it doesn't look good by Wednesday, because we're rolling and moving fast. Thursday's our fit day. Obviously, we're fitting up, with our walkthroughs and making sure everything looks good. We say Friday's finish, and then our Saturday is family. We take the day off. Coaches can thank God for huddle and all that kind of stuff. They can put all their information in there. They can do all those type things, and spend time with their families. With their kids. We tell the same thing for our players. The purpose of this is to provide a focus during the process. So we talk about a process, but if you don't have a clear outline for what that process is, the kids go, well, Coach, what are you talking about? So we say, hey, this is a clear outline of what we're going to focus on every single day. So to prevent us from looking ahead and focus on the theme of the day to, accomplish our goals and what we're trying to get accomplished. So that's our week, and that's what we push, and we're on top of it from that standpoint. And that's exactly how we structure our in-season days as far as Monday through Saturday. Now, this is something that I give to my coaches, and this is something that was huge for me. It kind of became a thing that was more for giving it to your wife to tell her, hey, this is what this is where I'm going to be this week. This is what I'm going to be doing, and things like that. But it was something that was super organized and structured for our coaches. They know, hey, it's going to be 60% chance of rain, 70% chance of rain. So you need to have plan B already prepared, ready for we're in the gym or we're in the cafeteria or wherever we are. You need to have all of that type stuff structured. So we put what the weather is, what the temperature is, what our different things and thought processes are. And it'll look a little bit different from this. Just there'll be more notes and things like that. We also pick a word of the week. So one thing we do is once we're done with practice, we circle up, and each coach has what we call 10 seconds of wisdom. Sometimes that can turn into 15 minutes of wisdom, so we got to watch it. But we have 10 seconds of wisdom, and then we also do what's called attitude, effort, execution. So we go around kind of in the back and, say, Coach Sims, you got 10 seconds of wisdom. And so he just kind of lays out we put a word of the week, mental, or it could be, we pick it in our coaches meeting, and they talk around that word. Okay. What that means to them. They use, pull in experiences and things like that very quickly. And then we do an attitude, effort, execution. So each coach will name a player or players who exemplified, the attitude, effort, execution piece. I like that because what that does too is it makes my coaches focus consistently at practice on trying to pinpoint what kids are doing, positive, all of those type of things. And then we're able to highlight what that kid was doing, during that day. So that's something that we do at the end of practice. Again, got to watch it sometimes because I don't get the long-winded coaches and they'll be rolling, but it's been really good for us, and it lets the kids hear another voice. It's not just me up there talking in front of the group. It spreads it out, and it allows the coaches to kind of grow and develop too, and maybe get them out of their comfort zone a little bit, so that if they're wanting to become a head coach or do things like that, it can help them get their voice and go about it that way. Okay. Oh, this is Sunday again. We've got our active recovery period. This is something we do on Sundays. When I came in, I was big on the nutrition piece. I wanted these kids because we got a ton of kids that have never played football before. And I said, we're trying to take non-football players and turn them into football players, because if they were football players, they wouldn't be going to school here, because Mount Bethel had never had a football program prior to last year. So we bring in the yoga. We try to run this thing as much like a college program as possible. We say we're a college preparatory school, so I want to run this thing as much like a college as humanly possible. So we try to really push the nutrition piece, with the proteins and the drinks and all of these type things. We bring them in for yoga on Sundays. We also get a recovery lift, and they get treated for any injuries or things like that they may have. But that's a big piece of what we do. And that's, again, I know I said it on our Sunday as an active recovery day. This is kind of the picture that gives, a little bit more insight into what we try to do from that standpoint. Okay, diving into full practice. And again, this has become kind of my baby and something that has been huge for us. This is a layout. Now, I won't go through all this because I've got some slides that show you, and I'm trying to get through this quickly, that show you every single thing we do as far as this. But this is the breakdown of we'll start a pre-practice and move into a 2-minute, and we kind of go through there. And again, like I said, this is the structured outline. I'm going to show you kind of step by step what that looks like as I go through this very quickly. So this is our pre-practice structure here. Now, I'm a big special teams guy. I was special teams coordinator at a couple of different places, and I've just seen the value and the importance in our special teams. How that works, all the nuances that go into how special teams can win or lose you games. And I've seen it from multiple different ways and things like that. So I have found a huge importance in that. So we're going to do this every single day. So Tuesday we do 8 minutes, and you can see here we got our field goal kickers and our holders and snappers down here. We've got our snappers, punters, and returners kicking, our kickoff guys and returners kicking on the other end of the field. And then typically our O-line, D-line guys who aren't in anything. They're working on their kind of everyday drill type stuff, their steps, all of their hand placement, all that kind of stuff. We do get a full 20-minute special teams period on Wednesday. So that's why we kind of cut that down, from that and try to incorporate all that into our pre-practice portion of that. Also, too, a lot of times the quarterbacks will be doing their own thing, taking snaps, anything like that, long snaps, under center, all that type stuff, and then throwing to receivers, just warming up, whoever's not in this specialty period for us. We then quickly move into our individual and group periods. Now, this was something that I worked, the school I came from, I worked for a legendary coach named Gary Rankin, and learned so much from him about how to practice. That was his biggest thing was how they practice, and he's won 17 state championships, and I attribute most of that to just the structure, the organization of how he practices. So I've tailored a lot of this stuff off of what he did. but we do a 5-minute period with quarterbacks, wide receivers doing pat and goes. The running backs will work blocks. So I know when I was there, I coached running backs and did the D line, but we would work blocks. I mean, it's talking just the minute stuff behind the step, the hand placement, and that's a 5-minute period. Again, O-line continues to do their everyday drill stuff. We progress down after that 5 minutes, and it's no more than 5. I mean, it's 5 minutes. You got to get it in, get it out. Let's go. The next 5 minute is a group period. And this is just, and as simple as it was, and I've seen it before, but just the organization of just a mirror drill, and it's every day. So we've got a quarterback, a running back, we'd have a fullback or a sniffer. And literally a lot of times we'd have 4 groups depending on how many, we got here. If we got 2 groups, that's great. And we just mirror, they run a mirror drill. So we'll run, one play going right, one play going left. The kids will cross over and we'll go into another play going the opposite direction. And so that was huge just from getting those plays and stealing plays and how you do things and all that kind of stuff was awesome from that standpoint. From there, we run into our defensive period. Now, this is something that each one of my coaches, and it's not to micromanage, but it's especially young coaches. We give our coaches drill lists. And we don't say you have to do this. This is something you have to do, but it just helps to keep them organized and structured as to what they do on a daily basis, how they do things. And we give this out to, our outside linebackers, inside linebackers, D-line, defensive backs. I got those kind of pulled up there, and gives them just some context into some drills they can do and they can work in order to keep them, again, structured, organized, and on task at what they're doing at practice. I know because if you get a young coach in here who doesn't have a lot of experience, they can get lost in the shuffle. And so, you want to make sure that they're getting the kids everything they need to be successful. So we provide these for our coaches. And a lot of times we'll sit down and kind of tailor what they know best and what best fits them. So this is just kind of an idea of that. Now we're going to get in an everyday drill from this standpoint. This would be our defensive individual period and our tackling period as well. So it's a 10-minute period. The top portion where it's a stick drill, long stick drill, handwork, their hand placement, that's a 5-minute period. So we walk through this in spring, we walk through this in summer, and then they know this, so it's old hat to them when we get into the fall. So we can literally, we'll say, hey, shade right, stick left, shade left, stick right. Shade right, long stick left. So it's rapid fire. We're like, how many reps can we get in this 5-minute period? And then the bottom portion of that is our, position specific tackling. And so, if it's we're working a chase drill or a wrong shoulder drill, and again, we're rapid fire. It's no more than 10 minutes. I mean, we're 10 minutes and we're moving. It keeps the kids engaged. It keeps the coaches engaged. It keeps everybody moving and flowing and moving, and the pace of practice quick. So that would be, again, a defensive line, individual period and tackle, period right there in a 10-minute window. And this is an example of just me doing this here. Again, and we're moving fast and just breathing fire on the kids. I mean, I want them to feel some chaos, feel some hey, I got to move, I got to go, and kind of get that done from there. Now, this is one thing we do. I do a padded camp every year. Some of this stuff's from that padded camp, but we go through a tackling, position-specific tackling teach period, circuit period in the summertime and in the spring. And then once we get into the season, we kind of, it's more position-specific, but we tackle every single day. And it's not a lot of live tackling. It's a lot of tackling because we don't have a lot of kids. So I'm not going to live tackle a kid and get him hurt. Everything we do is on pads, but you can kind of get it. It's just, it's the hop tackling, the eyes through the thighs, we say, we're keeping our head out of it, all of those type of things that are important. And you can see, so we harp on this every single day to work. And again, we got to pad down because, again, we got a lot of kids that never played football before. They don't know how to fall. And they put their arms down. They do a lot of different things like that. So, again, this is that's tough to watch, but we're teaching them and we're trying to get it kind of down for them to understand that. So we go through that period every single day. Again, there's some more here. Just the tackle teach portion of it. And again, just going through it. We spend a ton of time in the spring and the summer working through that. Make the middle school kids come to the padded camp before they can really put helmet pads on. because I want them to know that they know what we're doing. After that, after we get through our individual periods and our group periods, we go into a special plays period. This is all our trick plays. So we do a lot of trick plays. It's something we spend a lot of time on. And so we spend a 5-minute period every single day going through trick plays. And that's what you think it is. Flea flickers, throwback screens, double passes, anything. And we carry about 5 trick plays the entire year, and we work those every single day in a special play period. So that's something that, we spend a lot of time on. And then again, you may never know when you need it. You need it for a 2-point conversion to win a game, and you've not ran it all year, but you've ran it every day at practice, so the kids know exactly how to execute it. From there, we go into, we do a half line inside run. And then we also do, so like the first portion of this would be a 10-minute inside half line run. We also set up a gauntlet. So we'll have kids with pads. The running back has got to run through the gauntlet with the pads. And so that's a 10-minute period. We then will go into a defensive period for 10, and then we come back to a perimeter period. So if you can see at one end of the field, like this close-up angle right here is an inside period. The far end of the field, the kids are working perimeter. So once they go through that in a 10-minute period, we then go into a 7-on-7 period. And this is something that I stole from a coach who's at Christian Brothers now in Memphis. But I was at a clinic and I heard he go through this. He goes through a 7-on-7 period. And what we do with this is we don't huddle with this. Each kid will get one of these sheets, and it's got the kids numbered. 1 through 5. Yes, sir. I got you. 1 through 5. And so each kid has a sheet. They look at the sheet. We call out, hey, play 4, play 4, play 4. And they run the play. The next group steps up, hey, we got play 6. So we're able to kind of rapid fire through that piece of that 7-on-7. And again, still as many reps as possible. Also, we go here, any ball on the ground is considered a fumble. Anything in bounds is a scoop and score. We consider that a fumble. Again, this is just we also incorporate some half line 7-on-7s depending on numbers, what we have, what we need, all of those type things, if that's need be. After that 7-on-7 period, we roll into a team period. So defensive team period is, and this is something too that was really good, is we got 2 huddles. And again, a lot of people do this, but this has benefited us. And I see the way it helps us is, we got one group running a play. We got another group after the play's ran, they'll go back to the huddle and get the next play. The other group comes in with the formation. And it could be something funky that the other team does. They may be, 75% spread, but jump into single wing or jump into something crazy or funky. And so we're able to line that formation up and get a line to that from what we need from there. And then so they're you getting hit by both directions. So you got to be fast with the play call. You got to be good with your alignment, all of those type of things to get that done. We then come back again. If you were on inside the last time, you're moving down to perimeter. If you were on perimeter, you're moving to inside. So that's kind of how we switch that up. And again, every kid's getting reps. You're getting a ton of kids, different reps and everything from that. After we're done with all that type stuff, we move into our goal line period. Again, we do a lot of stuff under center, and we move into our goal line period. That's a 5-minute period every day. And we work some single wing type stuff, or we call it Big Bethel. We also work some Maryland eye, the old Maryland eye, in goal line from there. And then we call it Perfect 90. We'll do our 2-minute offense. We either do it before, depending on the day, we'll either do it before or after practice for a conditioning period. And that's something that we spend some time doing. And then this is one thing we do, a sideline to hash. We do this every day. We're going to work this every day. It's just you're working hand placement, you're working foot drive. And we're breathing fire on the kids again. Again, and it's just teaching the kids. We're going hand placement. We're going, some foot fire stuff there. We also got a beautiful heel we make the kids run that. We try to get them 8 seconds up. They walk down. We're trying to simulate a play on a lot of that type stuff. And that's the fastest version of it. So that's the whole run through there.
I know it's like a speed run, but I actually really enjoy these because it forces us not to do the BS. I
love it. I do. I love it. It gets me, my ADHD starts to kick in a little bit though, but no, I love it. I enjoy it. And, you have to be structured with the presentation or you're, you can kind of miss some things. But no, that's really it. I mean, I think we do. Again, I've been able to be around some really good coaches. So I've just, again, like I know Coach said before, I've stolen a lot of stuff from them. And then just kind of made it my own and tweaked it to what fits the kids we have here and what's good for us.
Can you go back to your slide on the one that had the weather, like the weekly layout? And
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That was there's a lot of good things I think in here that I could spend 60 minutes asking questions. But I mean, where did this kind of idea and layout come from for you? And how have you kind of modified this as the years gone on? Or is there anything you're looking at it like, okay, for next year, I need to make these changes to it? Because I like this. This is like, especially for not just for your spouses, but for your coaches, your assistant coaches. Heck, it wouldn't even be bad for your kids as well. So
yeah, well, that's one thing that I had a parent meeting last week, and this is one thing I told them the parent meeting was, hey, I'm going to be sending these out weekly, to the parents. Not with some of the coaching nuances, of like what each coach is doing on the, sideline. I mean, and again, that's not a bad thing. It doesn't hurt if they know that. But no, again, a guy by the name of Jerry Boskin, he was a huge mentor of mine. He used to give us these, and he was like, he said, this is really more for your wives than it is, but it helps keep us organized. So we knew, again, what's the weather going to be? What do we need to do here? What are we doing here? And it's not too much information, but it's just enough. And so, again, like I said, this year, this is something I give to my coaches during our meetings, and they can give it to their wives or do what they want to do with it. But then this year, I'm sending this out to our parents as well. We have a couple different ways of communication, Sports U and stuff like that. I'm going to send all these out weekly. So, they know everything we're doing down to our walkthrough on a Thursday or a Friday. And so all of those type of things, and just having all that kind of stuff, but the thing, giving it to the kids is a great idea. And that's something that, again, I was going to do this year. So they knew everything that they needed to be, everywhere they needed to be, everything they needed to be doing.
Okay. Perfect, Coach. I'm going to throw Coach's Twitter in the X, whatever we're calling it nowadays. I'll probably just call it Twitter forever. I'm sorry. It's hard. I mean, I think me and Coach Hall talked about that before we got started today, is that, I mean, change is hard for people in general.
Yeah.
It's kind of against human nature. And so when you change something I've known for about a third of my life, its name, for whatever reason that he chose to change it for, it's still a hard habit to break, Coach. I'm just saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is what it is. And, but I think you did a fantastic job. Like I said, Coach's Twitter is X, whatever's in there. I mean, like I said, Coach is pretty easy to get hold of. And I know him and